right, students in here overall did really well on tests. We did get one perfect test in here, so hopefully if you're watching and you took your test, hopefully you did well also. We're going to continue this discussion of percents. We're coming up on an exam in just a couple weeks from now, which will review everything we've talked about this school year. But for the next little bit, I want to continue this discussion of percents. And one of the big applications of percents that even you have seen is when you go to the store and you see that sale rack or there's a tag that says such and such percent off, right? Now, you're probably not looking to buy washers and dryers like what you see pictured at the top of page 76 in your textbook. But maybe there's clothes that you're buying, or maybe even, your favorite snack, and you see a sign there that says that it's on sale at such and such percent off. How many are you familiar with these percent off things? And that's happiness, right? Because that means if it's percent off, that means money you're not spending, which means you don't have to spend as much, which is happy, right? So look at the term here, discount. Discount is a reduction in the list price. I want you to write this off to the side. Discount. Write this definition. I like mine better. It's a percentage of the list price. Discount is a percentage of the list price that you do not have to pay. Discount is a percentage of the list price that you do not have to pay. A percentage. I'm wording it differently, so write it down. Don't just highlight, because I'm giving you something different than what's in the book. This means the same thing, but I like my way of saying it. Discount, it's a percentage of the list price that you do not have to pay. So discount is happiness and joy. Now, list price. What is list price? It's the price the item is listed at to begin with, right? So if there's a pretty dress that Kirsten wants, and she's like, $80? I ain't spending no $80 on a dress. But then she sees, oh, it's on the clearance rack. It says 70% off. Well, now I can get the dress I like, right? That's how I buy dresses for my wife. Anyway, just kidding. Sort of kidding. Anyway, a percentage of the list price you don't have to pay. For instance, look at the first example problem that they have on page 76. Very straightforward. It says find the amount of discount, 40% off a refrigerator that costs $850. Right next to where it says $850, class, write list price. That's the list price. On the price tag, it says $850. Nowadays, that's a pretty cheap refrigerator, unfortunately. Oh, how times have changed. But this thing's on sale. It's a great sale. This sale is huge. It's the greatest sale in the history of sales. Trump orchestrated this sale. Anyway, no. When I said the greatest history, it just sounded like something Trump would say. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Everything with Trump was always the greatest, he said. And but it's going to be 40% off. 40%. It's a percentage that you do not have to pay. So what do you suppose we should do with the 40%, class? Multiply. We're going to multiply the 40% of the $850. Now, that's not what the problem says, but that's how we work it. We find 40% of $850. That's a horrible percent sign. But, of course, we can't multiply a percent. Class, we have to change it to a decimal. And we go boink, boink. And what does 40% become? 0.4. And we're going to multiply. Or, since I have one decimal and one zero, I could knock off the zero and the decimal. Just 4 times 85. 4 times 5? 20. And 4 times 8 plus 2? 34. This is the discount. This is how much you don't have to pay. Does that make sense? This isn't how much you pay. A discount is not the price you pay. This is the amount you don't have to pay. Is everyone clear on what a discount is? All right, now you see another term there. Correct? Yes, you see the term sale price. It's between the blue shaded boxes. Sale price. Write this down next to sale price. Sale price is the price you pay after subtracting the discount. Sale price is the price you pay after subtracting the discount. Sale price is the price you pay after subtracting the discount. So I'll be very clear here. Discount is what you don't pay. Sale price is what you do pay. Do you see the difference? Discount is what you save. Sale price is what you pay after the savings. Does that make sense? So we're clear. So look at the next problem. We've got a cleaning service that normally costs $200. So Corey's mom says, I got 4 boys. This is a lot to clean up after. And I try to get them to clean up after themselves, but they don't do a good job. So I'm going to get this cleaning service to come clean it up. I'm going to charge them for the cleaning service. Because after all, they should be cleaning their own rooms and they're delinquent. So I'm going to charge them for the cleaning service. Kind of makes you want to clean your own room, doesn't it? I'm just kidding. I'm sure his room is spotless, immaculate, everything where it belongs, the floor vacuumed, everything dusted and neat. His face says otherwise. Anyway, enough picking on Corey though. But there's this discount though. So his mom doesn't have to pay $200 for the cleaning service. She's getting 30% off. What do I do with the 30%, class? Multiply it. We're going to take the 30%, but we're going to write it as a decimal, class. 0.30 or just 0.3 and multiply it by 200 or multiply 3 times 20, class. 60. Again, taking the decimal off along with the 0. That's $60 off. That's what she does not pay. That's the discount. How do I find the sale price, class? You subtract the discount from the list price. It was supposed to be $200, right? But if we take $60 off, how much does it really cost for the cleaning service? $140. So apparently, what is that? $35 a kid? All 4 of y'all be paying $35 for the cleaning service to come clean. You're like, well, if I'm paying $35 for the cleaning service, I might as well mess it up a little more first, get my money's worth. Just kidding, don't do that. She'll never want to clean again. So $140. Does everyone see what they did? They found the discount, then they subtracted the discount. Everyone good on that? All right, look at the next one. 15% off a boat that costs $12,000. Must be nice to afford a boat. Anyway, $12,000 boat, 15% off. Notice what they did. First class, they multiplied 12,000 by... It's right there in your book. What did they multiply 12,000 by? 0.15. Right? They made the percent into a decimal. That allowed them to find out, of course, there's some shortcuts I would have used, right? I'd have knocked off 2 decimal places along with 2 zeros, made it 15 times 120. Doesn't really matter. They got $1,800. Everyone see that? That's the discount. Then what did they have to do, class? Subtract 12,000 minus the 1,800. Everyone see where they did that? Subtract the discount, and that gives them what we call the sale price. Okay, so the price that it's listed at, class, that's called the list price. The money you're going to save is called the discount. And then what do we do with the list price and the discount? Subtract so that we get the sale price. All right, and notice what the sale price was for the boat, $10,200. Which is still $10,200 more than I would have for a boat, but you know, more power to them. Questions on that? There's another way, though, to find sale price. I want you to write this at the top of the next page. Another definition for sale price. Remember, discount is the percentage that you don't pay. So another way to think of the sale price, write this at the top of the next page. Sale price is the percentage of the list price that you do pay. Sale price is the percentage of the list price that you do pay. The percentage of the list price that you do pay. Does that make sense? So, if you get 40% off, what percent would be paying full price, class? What percent means all of the price? 100%, right? And if there's 40% that you don't pay, does everyone understand that means that 60% that you do pay? Everyone got that? If you get 30% off, that means you pay what percent, class? 70%. For the boat, if the boat is 15% off, then what percent does the person buying the boat have to pay? Careful on your subtraction. 100% minus 15%? 85%. They're going to pay 85% of the list price. That's a quick way to find sale price. Rather than finding the discount and then subtracting the discount, you could just subtract the percent and multiply that way. Look at the example that they've got here on page 77. Car wash advertises a 30% discount on a $15 premium car wash. Find the sale price. Well, if there's a 30% discount, class, that's the percent that they don't pay. 30% they don't pay. What percent do they pay? 70%. So notice they just took the $15 car wash and multiplied by 70% or 0.7. And they got $10 and 0.5. $10.50. Make sense? That's how much the car wash costs. And that allows them to do it just a little bit quicker. It's up to you. Now, I will say this. Look at the first set of practice problems. Do you see how they want you to write out the amount of discount? Then you might as well just find that discount amount, since you have to find it anyway, and then subtract to get the sale price. But if they just ask, what's the sale price? They don't ask for the discount. It might be quicker to subtract the percents instead. Look at number 1. We've got a couch. Class, the couch normally costs $800. But it's on sale. What is the rate of discount? 20%. So what do I do with the 20%? Multiply, not quite 20%. I change it to a 0.2 or 0.20. For that matter, knock off a 0, knock off a decimal place. It's 2 times 80. What's 2 times 80, class? 160. Write that in as your amount of discount. How do I find the sale price now, class? Subtract the regular price, or list price is what we call it, minus the amount of discount. And what do we get when we take 800 minus the 160, class? $640. That's the sale price. Now the couch is slightly more affordable. Does everyone understand what we're doing for discounts and sale prices? At your seats, I want you to do numbers 3, 5, and 7. They're on page 77. 3, 5, and 7 on page 77. Finding first the discount, then the sale price. You may want to do this on a separate sheet of paper because there's not a lot of room to work. Jalen's finished. And Bill's still working. Question? Well, that times 5 times. Where's the decimal? 0.5. There you go. Take another minute or so. to finish up these problems.
Russell, like Mr. and Mrs. Russell.
Russell. R-U-S-S-E-L-L. All right, go ahead and put your pencils down, even if you're not finished with all of these yet, and let's see how we did. Number 3, there's a $120 watch, but you're gonna get 40% off. First of all, how much are you gonna save on the watch, Bryson?
48.
Sorry?
48.
$48, right? So how much do you actually pay for this watch?
$72.
$72. How many had $48 saved, $72 spent? That's a pretty good deal for a nice watch. Number 5, a stereo. How many know what a stereo is? Okay, they still know. Okay, good. That's good. All right. Let's say it's getting less and less. Nowadays, the phones have such good speakers on them. Everybody's listening to stuff in headphones, earbuds. So stereo, it's the thing that shakes the whole road with the car next to you because they've got a really good one and they turn the bass all over. Anyway, stereo, $335, but you're getting 12% off. How much are you saving, first of all, Jalen?
$40.20.
$40.20. How much do you actually pay for this expensive stereo? $294.80 is correct. How many have those answers for number 5? Okay, be careful in your multiplication there. Number 7, we have a pair of sneakers. That's talking about shoes. And they're 50% off. Right? So these are on the clearance rack. They were $87, 50% off. How much are you saving, first of all, Paige?
$135.
Well, don't lose your decimal point. We multiply by 0.5, right? 87 times 0.5. So you do multiply and get 435, but we got to put a decimal point back in.
43.5.
But let's make it money now.
$34.08.
$43.50. I just take a little zero on the back end, right? So if I had, for instance, page 87.3, what would that be in money?
$87.30.
There we go, right. Just stick that zero on the back end to make it have the 2 decimal places. So we're saving $43.50. How much are we spending then?
$348.
Well, we're going to have to, that's true because you had the wrong number there. So we're going to have to redo the sale price. How much do we actually spend on these shoes, Corey?
$42.50.
Michael? $43.50. We should have had both numbers the same. Why? Because what is 50%, class? Half. So if you save half, that means you also spend half, don't you? That's the one time where the 2 columns would be perfectly equal. All right, are there any questions on these? Do we need to see any of them worked? Any questions, Paige? Number 5 with the stereo. Yeah, several of us did not say we had that. So first we have to multiply the 335 times 0.12. Check your work on this and should have gotten 2 decimal places, $40.20. But then we have to take the 335 and be careful. I've got to add a couple zeros to the back end of this so I can subtract the $40.20. 0 minus 0 is 0. Here I'm going to borrow. Get 8, 4, borrow. There's a 9, and there's the 2, and there's the $294.80. So there's borrowing we have to be careful with. There's multiplying we have to be careful with. There's decimal places to be careful with. You get the idea. We just got to be careful on 5. Michael?
It's not really related to this lesson, but when we say money, when we say like $284, Do we add the and?
The and is the decimal point.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. This is important with money. A decimal point is your and, because you're going from whole money to fractional money, and the and separates. Just like if I saw this fraction, we'd say this is 3 and 2/5. There's the whole portion, and there's the fractional portion. There's the whole dollar portion, and there's the fractional part of the sentence. Yep, good question. Good. Other questions on that? Do 2, 4, 6 at your seats. Do 2, 4, and 6. Now at your seats. Again, I recommend doing the work on separate paper. Then do your subtraction. Be careful with those decimals. Take about another minute to finish up. Several people already finished. All right, pencils down. Even if you're not finished with all of these, there's a $60 rug listed at 15% off. How much are you going to save on this rug, Sam?
$3.
How much?
$3.
How do we find it?
You
What do we multiply?
multiply it by 60 by 0.15.
0.15? All right, we multiply 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 6 is 30. Are we done with the multiplication? We still got to multiply the 1, don't we? So we put in the 0 first, then multiply 1 times 0, and 1 times 6. And so, yeah, I think you just forgot to multiply the 1. You did 5% instead of 15, so how much should we have? 900, but with 2 decimal places makes it $9. So should have had $9 savings. I think you can do this in your head, Sam. If we're saving $9 on a $60 rug, how much we spending?
We're spending $51.
$51. How many had a $51 rug after the sale? All right, number 4, dishwasher, $425. We're getting a 25% discount. Ben, number 4, how much are we saving?
$16.25.
Oh, 106. There's a 0 in there that you skipped over. $106.25, which is a lot better deal than $16.25. That's going to affect our sale price. Who had the 106.25 savings? You had that. Luciana, what's the sale price?
$318.75.
$318.75 would be our sale price there. Let's talk about the bicycle. 80% off. Now that's a really nice deal. We like it. And it's a really expensive bike too. $509 bicycle. We're getting it 80% off. This is an awesome deal. You wonder what's wrong with it. But what's the discount amount here, Griffin?
$40.72.
Oh, you put in 3 decimal places instead of 2. Or you put in 2 decimal places, you should have only had 1. Did you multiply by 0.8 or 0.80?
0.8, I accidentally.
Oh, and then you still moved it twice. So move the decimal back 1 place, and you should have a whole lot more savings.
407 and 20 cents.
$407.20 savings, which means, who had that savings first of all? What's the sale price going to be, Elaine?
$101.80.
$101.80 is correct. All right, questions on 246. Be careful with your decimal points. Page question.
Number 4.
Number 4 with a dishwasher. Yeah, so we've got our $425. We need to multiply by 0.25, right? That's our 25%. And we end up with that, right? We'll check your partial products, check your addition, and then there's our decimal point. Then we have to subtract, and remember, we've got to put the 0.00 in order to do the subtracting. Again, just be careful with your borrowing. This becomes a 4, makes this a 10, which makes it a 10. And there's our $318.75. So careful with the borrowing and all of that as well. Look at problem number 8. And read number 8 for us, if you would. Jalen.
All radios are on sale for 30% off the regular price of $80.
We could, class, find 30% and then subtract it. We could. That's what we were just doing. But there's a lazier way. And mathematicians are lazy. So we want to find a better way. Listen, if it doesn't ask you for the discount, don't waste your time. If we are getting 30% off, class, that's 30% that we don't have to pay. Good, Sam. Which means if there's 30% we don't have to pay, what percent do we have to pay? 70%. So what should we multiply the $80 price by? 0.7 at your seats. 30% off, meaning we only pay 70% for this radio. How much do we pay for the radio? Corey?
$56.
$56. How many had $56 for the radio? If you got $560, wow, that's not a sale, that's a ripoff. Okay? That means you forgot your decimal point, right? So just think logically about your answer before you go putting it down. Make sure your decimal's there. Look at the next one. Read this one for us, if you would, Paige.
A car is reduced to 55% of its original price of $15,600.
Look at the little graphic. Do you see that the car has a 45% off written on its windshield? And notice what it says in the problem. A car is reduced, not 55% off, class. Notice what it says in the problem. It's reduced to 55% of the original price. That's because it's 45% off. Does that make sense? They already did the subtraction for you. So what are you multiplying by? Class? 0.55 at your seats. Find how much this $15,600 car is going to cost you now. That's a really sweet deal, meaning the engine just fell out. or something else. It actually happened at a car auction.
Oh.
Guy bought a car, didn't check it before he completed the purchase, had it shipped home, towed home, and when he got it, he realized there was no motor. Wondered how he got such a good deal on that car. Buying things sight unseen, not always smart. And Honest John's Used Cars. If you have to work honest into your name, it just makes me wonder about you, you know. Honest Bob, the smiling math teacher. What's he really up to? Honest John's Used Cars. How much is the car selling for now, Kirsten?
$85.80.
Ooh, careful. You put too many decimal places in there. Just 2 decimal places. Oh, wait. I know what you did. Did you take this, and instead of multiplying by 0.55, you knocked off the zeros and the decimal? Which is perfect. What it means is there's no decimal in your answer at all. So what should our answer be? Let's rewind. Number 9, what'd you get for your answer, Kirsten?
$85.
Help her there, Michael. She's struggling. She has it right. She's just struggling. $8,580. No decimal at all. $8,580. Assuming you knocked off the zeros with the decimal. If you left the zeros, then the 2 decimal places are the zeros. $8,580. That's not such a bad deal if the car is in decent shape. Look at number 10. Read this one for us. Let's see. Griffin.
A coupon offers customers a 50% discount on half a gallon containers of ice cream. The ice cream is regularly priced at $7 per container.
Class, if you're getting 50% off, what percent are you paying?
Half.
50%, which is half. What's half of 7?
3.5.
3.5. What's 3.5 in terms of money? $3.50. We're done with number 10. Let's go on to number 11. And number 11, read this for us, Ben.
The baseball team's manager was able to purchase uniforms which normally cost $80 each for 35% off. What is the cost per uniform?
We could multiply by the 0.35 to get the discount and then subtract that discount from $80. We could do that, but we're lazy. So instead, we're going to say this, class. If we're getting 35% off, that means we're not paying 100% of the price anymore. We're now paying what percent, class? 65%. Be careful on your borrowing. We're only paying 65% of the original $80 they wanted. At your seats, how much is the cost per baseball uniform? Make it a 0.65. Actually, make it a 6.5 and make it an 8, right? Knock off the 0 with one of the decimal places. And what do we get for our answer here, Jalen?
$51.
Ooh, Elaine? $52.
Oh.
$52. Yeah, so we get the 6 times 8, 48 plus the 4, 52.0. $52 for a uniform. Questions? You okay?
Yeah.
Questions on discounts. Questions on sales. Saving money. We like that? We like saving money. Homework tonight. You're going to practice with a little of this. Be sure to copy down your homework carefully because your homework is actually on 2 different pages. Page 78. You're doing 1 through 9. Page 78. Do numbers 1 through 9. And on page 79, do 36 to 39. Page 79, do 36 to 39. Page 78, it's in the homework section, 1 through 9, short little section. And then on page 79, do numbers 36 through 39. Take a look at that in our next lesson. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You are dismissed.